So Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, I couldn't get it to run for a while, a few patches came out, and then I checked Proton DB and I put this very long launch option that you can see here. I put it in the description, so you can copy and paste. And I also added this at the end to skip the intro videos, so it's faster to load. So let's get into it and see what happens. Welcome to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Options menu, you got picture framing on widescreen, full screen, which is the entire screen. Widescreen is 16:9, which we are going to use for the extra performance and minimal cropping. And cinematic, which, well, it's like a movie. It's like, yeah, wider than 21:9, but you have huge black bars, so put it on widescreen, 16:9, but hey, what can you do? FOV 90 degrees, and everything on the absolute lowest settings, as you can see. And the resolution scale, you can use dynamic resolution, but the lowest it goes is 60, and we're nowhere close 60, so I keep it as a static 50% resolution, which in this case will be 400p. And the performance metrics has a lot of information, so I'm going to keep it here, especially for the graphs. But as you can see in the back of my head, there it is, 50% 800p. So yeah, let's get into it right away. This is the very first level, but we're going to check multiple of them. As you can see, I'm using CryoUtilities on the recommended preset. That's why the RAM is at 12.3 gigs and we have 7 gigs of VRAM. That doesn't make sense because we have 16 gigabytes on the Steam Deck. The rest is being used, allocated, I'm guessing, to a page file, like on Windows. So we're using storage to compensate, which is slower. So yeah, I mean, it runs at 30 FPS like this. As you can see, the GPU, according to the graph above my head, is the limiting factor, but the CPU as well. And what can you say? It's to be expected. I mean, it's forced ray tracing. But the issues that I had when I launched the game without the commands and without the patches or anything like that was that, first of all, there was no ground. The only thing that was rendered was in this beard on the ground, and it was like 6 FPS, but nothing was being rendered. And then we also had green eyes, so the eyes were like completely green and weird. Now the eyes appear to render correctly, except in certain maps. In the Vatican, I saw some green eyes in cutscenes, so they improved on that, but it's not 100%. But as you can see, the eyes look correct now. And well, I mean, it works. It's like we are using performance FSR. There's no FSR in this game, only TAA and DLSS. So that's why it will look softer than something like FSR on this one. So anyway, that's the first part. Let's go to the Vatican section. Continue, now we're in the Vatican section, a way more open map.
A lot of secrets in the Vatican. Must be some connection to the cat.
And as you can see there,
The camera too.
we're like borderline upper 20s, low 30s. In some more closed off sections, you're going to get maybe 40s or 50s, but again, most of your time will be spent in the more open locations. But it's very soft looking. On the smaller screen, it's not as noticeable. But I mean, I'm still impressed that we can actually make this run on the Steam Deck at all. I mean, ray tracing is still on. We're completely memory limited when it comes to the game. The game uses a lot of VRAM. So the fact that with the recommended preset in CryoUtilities, we can actually make it keep running, I think it's mind-blowing. I mean, one thing that this makes me think actually is that the Xbox version, the Series X and Series S versions, actually have a lower than low global illumination on PC. So maybe they put the lower than low feature on the global illumination, like the Xbox Series S version, maybe we can actually hit 30s, but again, this game was meant to be running at 60. That's why the dynamic res targets 60. Doesn't allow you to do dynamic resolution targeting 30. On the dog. There we go. Just scare the dog away. GG. But we're at a pretty low resolution. We still don't have FSR. But again, the fact... Again? But the fact that we're even close to the low 30s blows my mind. It's crazy.
That went easier than expected.
Okay. The key. But the thing is, you'll be basically hovering in the upper 20s and low 30s in open locations. But I think slowly it's getting more playable. There are still some graphical glitches, as you'll see that those, well, the edges are unstable. Sometimes, despite the patch fixing the green eyes, the eyes sometimes get green after extended periods. Maybe if you see the edges of the face of this person, of Ernesto. Sometimes they get green, but not as noticeably as before. Yeah, there are some graphical glitches. But still, I think we could actually... I mean, if we had a Steam Deck with more memory, I think we could pull it off into the 30s more often. But still. Also, when it comes to battery life, 2 hours of battery on the OLED, and probably an hour and a half, yeah, 2 hours, 15 minutes, and maybe on the LCD, an hour and a half, I'm guessing. On a full charge, of course. But the Steam Deck is running at full throttle, as you can probably notice. Using all the RAM, using all the GPU, there are spikes on the CPU usage to the highest setting. But before this patch, and this command that someone recommended in Proton DB, the game actually works, which is interesting. Even on Windows, when I was loading the game, it crashed after compiling shaders. So again, it blows my mind that it works at all, like this. I was expecting like low 20s across the board. So maybe I have hope, maybe. You can actually... They can actually, I don't know, implement lower global illumination settings like the Series S version. That would be cool. I think that would actually make it a lot better. And maybe that's what we need for actually run the game at 30 more consistently. Just run past through them. Run indoors. Okay. But I mean, the ray tracing is fully there. We still have our own shadows, indirect lighting, all that. And I've been playing the game... Yeah, there you go, the green eyes thing. Very minor now. Not as easy to spot as before. And here's a hammer. Let's get to the secret location. There we go. Lost artifact. Not anymore. It belongs in a museum. Hammer. Oh yeah, he's gone forever. So yeah, you could say it's playable. I would say it's barely playable. But you can actually play the game if you want to, which is pretty damn impressive, in my opinion. So anyway, once you die, we should load up very quickly. And also, when you launch the game, you get a black screen for like maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Launches.
think the odds are in your favor.
But again, the fact that we can, with some patches, it got way better. And at the same time, with the commands and Proton experimental, we get results like this. Even in the more open location. So yeah, would I recommend it on Steam Deck? No, not yet. I mean, I'm probably not going to recommend it at all for a while because hardware limitation and memory limitation is there. But it's like playing a low-end Switch version at the moment. Drops into the upper 20s, mostly into the 30s, depending on what's going on. As you can see, more open locations with more noticeable GI. But if they put a lower than low GI like in the, again, the Xbox Series S and X version, I think we should be closer. But I think the biggest issue here is the memory limitation. The game uses a lot of VRAM. And from the 16 gigabytes that the Steam Deck has, it has to share it between the system memory, which in this case is 12 gigabytes of usage, and the VRAM, which at this point is 7 gigabytes. And you might say, but that's 19 gigabytes. Yeah, that's because with CryoUtilities, it's actually assigning like a page file. So it's taking the space from the SSD and allocating it as RAM or VRAM, which is way slower. That's probably why we get drops into the 20s. But I'm still pretty impressed. That's what I was trying to say. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Well, now revisiting the game on Steam Deck. I was honestly expecting way worse after what I saw online. So yeah. If they patch it further, I'll make another video, but I'll see ya next time. Bye guys, thanks for watching.